So, Backlash has just finished. I watched it at 1 p.m. in the middle of the day as I am out here in America, which I found very fun because I'm an idiot and I like gimmicky things like that. And I'll tell you this, the headline, if you do want to know my overall review, is that on paper, I get it, you look to it, well, it seems like an okay show, I'll sit down and have some fun. But in practice, thanks to an amazing crowd, a bunch of nuts moves that everyone decided to do, and a surprise debut that was a genuine surprise, I thought this was a treat. So of course we will start with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton taking on the Bloodline. And listen, this just went absolutely crazy because they started off by fighting. So Nick Aldis came out like, oh, why do you make my life so hard? And he turned it into a street fight. Now if you'd watched SmackDown, you know this French crowd was absolutely bonkers. And when they knew they were going to be getting kendo sticks and trash cans and chairs and obviously tables, they got even louder than before. And because all these guys were fighting over everywhere, including Kevin Owens doing a splash off Barry Barricade, then Randy Orton pretending he was going to do it and not doing it and doing the pose instead, which is goofy wrestling for life, which I enjoy mostly. It was so noisy that I'm pretty sure at one point cameras were shaking, like they could not believe they were getting this. I think it was smart as well because again, we only had 5 matches. So if you do want to throw a random stipulation there, you'll get away with it. It just made the car flow way, way easier. But look, you know the deal when it comes to hardcore matches in WWE. People were going through tables, people were getting smashed with kendo sticks. Why there's a kendo stick there, I don't know. And we had trash cans. Now don't forget, nobody knew that it was going to be a street fight before this. So who had placed all that rubbish around? Let's not think about that too much because we may expose wrestling. But the absolute highlight, again, you should watch this. It's a super, super fun match. Everyone does such a good job. And the booking of Tama Tonga in WWE has been absolutely sublime, which is why I'm very excited for Tangaloa as well, because that's right. Just as Kevin Owens had the match 1 where he basically killed Tama Tonga as he threw him or fisherman suplexed him into all of these chairs, as if it was ECW in 1998. Honestly, the other Gorilla of Destiny member turned up and he did the whole thing where the ref went 1, 2 and he pulled him out the ring because Triple H knows if he doesn't do that once a year with the Bloodline, aliens will attack, so I appreciate him keeping us safe. But I didn't read one dirt sheet rumor about this, to use the right words or the wrong words, depending on how you see it. Not even a murmur from anybody. Like nobody knew this was going down. And to do that in professional wrestling in 2024 is so damn hard. And I don't mind any of the other stuff. I like it. I think social media has made wrestling better because we can make videos like this and we can share it. But the fact that they were able to do this, even with all the nonsense, listen, this is no disrespect to Tangaloa. It's not like he's, I don't know, who's a massive star right now. Hangman Adam Page or Kenny Omega or someone like that jumped from AEW, be like, well, how the hell did that happen? But he's still been smashing it in New Japan for decades, years. And he's still Tama Tonga's brother in the Gorillas of Destiny, who have been a really good tag team in New Japan. So to slip him in there and also screw over Randy Orton and Kevin Owens and also join the Bloodline as they grow in this new guise, I thought it was tremendous. I thought it was brilliant. And in terms of surprise debuts, modern surprise debuts, and using that word literally, it probably comes in at number 2 because I didn't believe that CM Punk was going to come back last November at the Survivor Series, although you could argue that wasn't even a debut because he'd been there before. But I thought it was a great ending. Paul Heyman is selling everything like, oh my gosh, this is not going to go well for me at all. The crowd were chanting Roman Reigns, and my gosh, I think we were in 2016. 8 years later, we'd done a total 180. And there was a tease later too before the Jey Uso match when the Bloodline did walk by, and Jey was like, but it was the look that Paul Heyman gave him. It was, look, if I'm sorry, Jey, we need you. Maybe you need to team up with your brother Jimmy and take out the GOD. So I just thought this was arguably the best match on the show in terms of me looking forward to the television product, which is obviously going to be SmackDown in a week or so. But it's just, how did they do that? How did they sneak this under the radar? Somebody must have known. Maybe they got paid off. I don't know. But if we could do more of this, it would be absolutely awesome. And don't forget that Jacob Fatu, apparently, who even knows anymore, is also going to be part of this group. So not only is that going to be awesome with them standing together and keep this bloodline alive, but if they can do a debut with him as well, this is going to be an awesome storyline. And of course, we found out on SmackDown that Roman Reigns hasn't chatted to Paul Heyman, so you have that wrinkle as well. So yes, a terrific match. It then goes right into the triple threat match with the women, Bayley versus Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi. Look, a few things didn't go as planned, but you have 3 people, so you have to expect that. But otherwise, I thought this rocked too. Bayley is such a good champion, mostly because she's gone back to being a babyface. And she was so overwhelmed by how much the French fans loved her. You could just see it in her eyes, and that makes you like her more. Naomi is underrated, and she absolutely deserves more after this, and I hope she gets it. And she was over the moon too. And Tiffany Stratton, given how long she has been a wrestler, and given how long she's been on the main roster, could go on to be a proper all-timer, like her timing and the way she sees wrestling and her approach and her character and how she kind of throws all of them into one package. Seriously, has all of the tools. And what I liked here is, at least for a little while, we didn't do the thing of I'll get rid of you and us two will get it and then we'll get rid of you and the other two will go at it. They did a bunch of trio spots and we paid off the stuff we were doing on SmackDown because, of course, for 2 weeks consecutively, Tiffany Stratton had done the prettiest moonsault onto Bayley and Naomi. So here they stopped that and they basically hit her with what you would call a 3D. And that's when they got into this as well. And people were going into tables. There was an Alabama slam spot, which was horrible too. And Bayley was breaking things up with elbow drops in the last seconds at the 1-2-ooh. I said this on my ups and downs as well, which will be live soon. Check it out on What Culture and subscribe here as well. But if you want to get all negative Nancy with it, no, nobody ever thought that Bayley was going to lose. But the reason for that is the same reason I don't come up here and drop a bunch of swear words. You wouldn't be expecting it. And if I did do, like Simon, you've gone down the wrong direction. Bayley should be holding this for a long time. And again, if we wind the clock back to SmackDown, I think coming out of this, it may be the Bianca Belair versus Bayley feud, which makes all the sense in the world because who was the head of Damage Control that ruined Bianca's life? It was, of course, Bayley. And this ended with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, surprise roll-up. Always going to get a reaction from me. And I do think that kind of protects Naomi because even though, as Lance Storm would say, it's a perfectly viable wrestling hold, what's the problem here? But there is an idea around it that is a bit of a, oh man, you got a shock win. And of course, Tiffany wasn't involved at all because she had been totally murked. And Naomi and Bayley hugged afterwards. Again, on paper, looked okay. In practice with the crowd and just seeing it all come together, thought it was tremendous. Same for Jey Uso versus Damien Priest. Now, we can say it again. I know it's boring, broken record, Groundhog Day. Where's Bill Murray? I'll give him a cup of tea. Jey Uso was never going to win this, and we knew it. But what I think maybe they did better than anybody else on this show is one near fall that I bit like an absolute moron. Because if you were taking the bet of Damien Priest, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. Because not only do we need to elevate Jey Uso, we need to elevate Damien as well because they are going to be leading Raw for a while. And eventually, Drew McIntyre will be back properly and CM Punk and somebody else I can't remember now, but you'll be shouting at me. That's perfectly fine. Seth Rollins. That's who I was thinking of. But as we move into this new era, if these are your guys, they need to go in there and have what we would deem to be a main event match, because essentially it was the Raw main event match. And I think they did that because we also tied in the shenanigans with the Judgment Day. So Damien Priest was not a babyface at the start of this. I was like, that's interesting. We're not going to tap into that at all. When JD McDonough comes down and essentially saves the day twice, especially the second one, Jey Uso had the match won. That's the pin, the 1-2 that I massively popped on. But when Damien Priest realized this, he's like, what are you doing, you stupid McDonough? I told you not to do this. It was the same when Finn Balor also came out. After the match when he had one with an avalanche chokeslam, he said, you're an idiot and you're an idiot. He is quite clearly going to leave the Judgment Day and go full-on babyface. But again, it was almost like a little journey that we saw here. But yeah, the absolute best near fall was JD McDonough had been knocked out by Jey Uso, and Jey Uso had taken out Finn Balor as well. Maybe Finn Balor came afterwards. But the point is, he hit a second Uso splash. And I was like, well, there's no way that Damien Priest is going to kick out of a second one. They hit all their finishes as if it was WrestleMania. I suppose my idiotic brain had forgotten about JD. So when he put Damien Priest's foot on the rope at the 1-2-ooh, I was like, they got me. There's absolute mother hubbards. And of course, it was Finn Balor's distraction that allowed Damien Priest to get to win. But I think it's a match we're going to talk about for ages. And I said this on Ups and Downs. I'm just going to repeat it here. Yes, of course, it was enhanced because of the crowd. But Batman games wouldn't be good if Batman wasn't in it. Batman is in it. This pizza wouldn't be good if it wasn't pizza. But it is pizza. It's a stupid argument. It doesn't make any sense. It carries no weight. It carries no depth. But this is very, very enjoyable. And I think it, set up Jey Uso to feel like a main event guy. That is his nickname. And it was much better than his, the brother match we did at WrestleMania. And the interesting thing with Damien Priest is you can see that he's going to leave the Judgment Day. So it's 2 thumbs up from me. As is the tag team match, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus Kabuki Warriors. This had laugh out loud moments in it. One, the first 5 minutes, or however long it was just Jade and Bianca ruining Asuka and Kairi Sane. I think they realized we understand what our job is. They were just screaming, being thrown around the ring, going, ah. And that really made me laugh. It also made me chuckle because at one point they all forgot who the legal person was. Maybe that was part of it. I mean, I don't care. I thought it was entertaining. I'm entertained by a match. Who gives a flub? But they had to get back on page after that. And the last 5 minutes, I just thought were a hoot. Because Kairi and Asuka are so damn good at wrestling. So is Bianca Belair. And Jade Cargill, I think, gets better and better. And I think what she brings to the table is just immense. Because she looks like a star and she gets massive pops. And that's half the battle of being a pro wrestler. But we were getting all of these double team moves. And the timing of Jade, when she broke up the Kabuki Warriors' insane elbow double team finish, was excellent. And then when Kairi Sane came off the top and Jade Cargill grabbed her and basically manipulated her into the jaded position. I know Kairi is not a big person. She's still a human being. she still has some weight to her. And when she did slam her down, and then Bianca Belair just teleports back into the ring and hits the KOD on Asuka into Kairi Sane, and they got the 1-2-3. Just so much good to this. These fans deserved a title change, and I'm not saying they did that because of that, because I also think putting it on Jade and Bianca is a really good idea, because hopefully now we have changed it and put it on two people that WWE deems as mega superstars. We can actually start remembering that we have some tag team titles and doing something with them, because the Kabuki Warriors were never given a proper chance. They should have done way more than they would have done, because they're flipping brilliant, right? But it's just, everything about this I just thought was super fun. You could feel the effort that was being put into this match. It's like every single person being told, this is your MO, this is your MO, this is what you got to do, this is what you got to do. And they just did it. And that's when wrestling's at its best. It was like watching a dance come together with an ending that was, enjoyed by all. Because if you go to a WWE event, when they don't often come to your town and you see a title change, you put that in your pocket and you remember it for ages. Also ties into Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles. Again, nobody thought AJ Styles was going to win. And I didn't actually buy any of the near falls here, but I'm going to use the analogy that I keep using. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Dude Love from 1998, post-WrestleMania 14. You just want to establish that Cody is going to have banger main events. And that was the absolute addition of this crowd too. The way they did it is that we're going to do mega moves, which is going to do absolutely crazy moves. So we've got a burning hammer that Cody Rhodes kicked out at 1. We've got this insane brainbuster suplex thing into the ring apron. If you told Cody he was injured after, I believe you. We had AJ Styles jumping into Cody's arms when he threw him, powerbombed him to out on the announce table. And we had a top rope Cody cutter. Now the Cody cutter is pretty impressive anyway, because you're jumping off into a springboard. But the way AJ solved it, and it just looked totally immense, and it led to one crossroads in the 1-2-3, and that's good. We need to get away from the hole. I'm going to hit you with 79 of these. But AJ Styles too, he's what, 46, maybe 47. The 450 springboard, nobody does it better than him. The kicks he was doing. At one point, he went for a Cody cutter, and AJ Styles caught him in the tombstone position. I was like, man, don't do that. I don't need that in my life. It is absolutely terrifying. It was just a good back and forth match. But of course, they slowed down at times and made it a bit 1980s, because they had the crowd. Even when they were looking at each other, they had the crowd. And obviously they were giving AJ Styles all the crap in the world, and they absolutely loved Cody. I didn't understand half the chants. And AJ Styles is an absolute psychopath, by the way. Because I'm pretty sure Michael Cole said, he's wearing the same gear that he did when he beat Dusty Rhodes 20 odd years ago for the NWA title. So I'm like, AJ went home and said, honey, do we have that gear from 2 decades ago? I want to wear it because I'm fighting that dead man's son. Absolutely, that should have had way more gravitas than it did. Dusty Rhodes is a legend. His death was one of the saddest things that has happened because everybody beloved him. That's what crazy AJ Styles decided to do. So it was just a good back and forth match. There were some good near falls, but again, it was somehow the Jey Uso Damien Priest one really made me go, because I thought we were going to do something absolutely nuts. I didn't think that here. Maybe because it's Cody. And what Cody needs to do is have good match, good match, good match, good match. And that's it, right? He's the working man's champion. He's going to work every house show. He's going to work every pay-per-view premium live event, which is something that Roman Reigns didn't do. And that will be the difference. And that will be the shift around. But it goes on for around about 3 hours. I mean, you can just listen to me talk about it here on What Culture. But if you do have the time, I strongly suggest it because it's the fans. They just love absolutely everything. And they felt so privileged, I suppose, that they were getting to see a WWE event, that they were going to try and strong-arm WWE into doing another one, which also kind of ties into the Cody match. He did a Kimura because he'd gone through the move book and went, well, this does come from an opponent I had last year, so I'll do it again. So yeah, it's a massive round of applause from me. This was so much fun. And I really enjoyed it again. I'm in the USA at the moment for the last match. That's why this video is a bit short. You have to forgive me, but I wanted to get out before we do our Saturday night performance. And the fact I got to watch it in the afternoon, it just put a warm and fuzzy feeling in my tum-tum, which you know all about, and it gets the thumbs up from me. Now, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the bell ding-ding to be part of the Notification crew. There'll be a video on the screen. Give that a click. Otherwise, it's grillandmind.com/Simon. You can Simon get 10% off. These supplements have genuinely helped me out here, so I love them even more. It's patreon.com/Simon316. Simon316 on Instagram and Twitter. Simon J. Miller on the TikTok. Simon Miller on Cameo. Doing loads of shout-outs at the moment because I've got some time, so hell yeah, do that as well. Pro Wrestling Tees and Samson Athletics for merchandise. Just realized I'm wearing a Samson Touch, but I do have my own exclusive tees on there as well. Thank you, my friends, for sticking with me. Enjoy Backlash. If you're going to watch it later, I'll see you soon.